He is old and he has done a lot of work and he has worked himself pretty good, whether we think that's a hard day's work or not. But point being, he has worked a lot of years in a lot of high pressure spaces. I'm sure he didn't take care of himself properly. I'm sure he drank too much and ate too much or too little or however that went. But also with him, I think he has a bit of a speech impediment. And I'm not coming at this to make fun of him or point or anything like that, but I do think that he did at some point, maybe when he was younger, it may have been corrected at some point and maybe it comes out a little bit, but he does have a touch of a stutter. And I'm not a speech pathologist, so I don't know what all of it is, but he does appear to have a little bit of a speech impediment. So again, small but noticeable, and sometimes maybe if he's tired or overworked or exasperated or excited, it might get a little exasperated or maybe intensify it. So I just don't think he's a very good speaker. I think he's always been a flubber. He's just flubbing. Even when he was with President Obama, he's just always tripping over his words. I don't know why he does that. Again, it could be psychological. It could be an impediment. But when I do that, I know that I'm not paying attention to my words. I'm not present with my words when I make a bunch of flubs. Now, I can be pretty present with my words and still mix them up and mess up and stuff, of course. But when I do that, and this is just projection, I'm not with my words. I'm just canned, and not really present. And I'm almost on autopilot when I do that a lot. So maybe he's on friggin' autopilot. Dude's almost friggin' 80.
Yeah, but still, if I'm saying that, I would have to compare him to Bernie, and I'd have to compare him to Bloomberg. And
Elizabeth's not young. She's in her, she's 70? I think she might be 70 exactly, or high 60s.
Okay, well, same concept that, it affects, age affects some people differently based on what they're doing for themselves. But his shit just seemed real contrived. It wasn't like he was making any points. He was just always saying, I did this bill. I did, or give me credit for something. And then he would almost have these little fits of anger and trying to override things. And then it was almost like he wanted some type of one-upmanship for being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Like that was his give me a point for that one. Or if he would say something.
I blame the memes. I blame all those dank memes that came out with him and President Obama. I feel like he got real used to the quips and the quick jeers for his cleverness and the funny memes. I'm kidding. I'm totally making shit up. But, yeah, I know what you're saying. He wants points for being a slick guy. No, you're all supposed to be clever and witty with your words. You don't get extra points for that.
Yeah, and it's just, you might say something that, that was clever, but it didn't have anything to do with the whole debate or what's making you look better overall. Talk about your hair. Okay, that was funny. Okay, yeah, that's a nice little, I see what you did there. But it doesn't make anybody with sense is not going to vote for you because of that shit.
No, he's deflecting. He's tired. I saw a funny meme. It said, stop contributing to my campaign. I want to quit. And that was just a funny meme, but I'm sure there's some truth to it. Dude's been tired since the beginning.
I don't know why he's in there. I don't know why what is it that he's trying to accomplish?
Because he has probably done work with a lot of millionaires who are not really willing to let their investment retire, and they want him still in the game pushing their agenda. That's the only thing I can come up with. I stated it to my boyfriend, and he goes, yeah, that's probably a big majority of it is over the years, he's got a lot of contributors. Over the years, he's done, some work for people, and they like the work that he's done for them. He stands for their values. He stands for where their investments have gone. He stands for whatever the hell they want. So they're used to their man going to bat for them, and he's getting ready to retire, but he's probably got another little bit left in him, and they're using him up like a proper puppet. And so that's why I feel like he's been, so to speak, forced. And like I said, at one of our first shows, I watched a little clip with him doing a pizza expo or a little cameo or whatever, and he looked tired and didn't even want to talk about running for presidency, and he was just about to announce that he was going to, and I'm like, this dude doesn't want to do this. I read this last year, and so here he is, still, doing the good work, I guess you call it. But I think he's got enough wealthy donors who have enough control over him that they're like, no, one more time until we get this Pete guy trained, and then you can go ahead and lay down and fucking die for all we care, because they are pawns, in my opinion, and that's why, I kind of have a mixed bag about Bernie getting in that position, because I'm like, I like his revolution, I like his East Coast snark, I love what he stood for all these years, but I don't know what that position entails and how much power he'll really have, and if they're going to press them and form them in a certain way. So I guess we just get to watch, see what happens.
And that's probably one of the good reasons why he's at the age that he's at. You might know he doesn't have much longer to go. So he's like, before I do leave, I actually want to make a difference in some type of way.
Or that.
And maybe this will be the difference. So, I'm hoping that it does work out that way. Yeah, but you're going up against a mighty monster in a lot of these industries, and he's like taking it all on at once. And Jesus,
you gotta like a scrapper. You gotta like a scrapper. And I have a friend who, she's like, I was a few years ago, where I couldn't be convinced that any of the runners were any good. But I do see that Bernie's got some energy, but she was teasing him. She was like, hey, Bernie, calm down, man. And I'm like, no, that fire you see, that's been burnt for almost a goddamn century. That's not going out and calming down. That's made him who he is and got him to where he's at, so that he can have this stance that he has with all this experience at almost 80 years old. So I like his fire. Whether it's too much, I don't care. I like it, and I think that that's fueled him enough passion to keep him in the good works for this long, and stay straight, in my opinion, or as straight as you can in that world. Mm-hmm.
I get that, and I see the passion. I can see how it would be beneficial, but still, I would like to see him back off in the debates, because it makes him look irate more so than composed and on point. He can bring himself to being on point. He's a sharp dude, but when you're trying to out talk Buttigieg or Gig or whatever his name is, and he's just not shutting up, you just let him have it, because he's gonna make himself look stupid, because he's not making any point. Anytime he talks, every time he's done talking, I'm like, all right, what did he just say? Because it was real. I'm not getting anything.
Who,
from
Pete
him.
or Bernie? Pete?
No, yeah, Pete. Because I get what Bernie's saying. Bernie's saying, look, I want to raise the minimum wage. I want to give everyone free health care or universal health care. I want, he's being direct with what he's saying. I want to take away all the deductibles. Your premiums. There's no reason why we're the number one country on this planet and we can't have this shit that everybody else has.
Yeah, they're like, it's
no
too
goddamn
complex.
sense.
Too complex of a beast. And we're like, 32 other countries do it. I think there's 33 first worlds. So, no, I think there's some work involved, no doubt about it, but I don't think it's as complicated of a beast as some of them like to make it sound. Now, there was a piece that Pete said that had me thinking and looking at and wondering about, which he said under Bernie's plan, there'd be a lot of people kicked off their insurance because I get all the words mixed up, but basically that insurance or that type of insurance would be not available. So they would close down all these private insurance companies, and we would go through, again, I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but like a universal health care as opposed to everyone having, different ones. And Bernie says that costs a lot to run, lots and lots of money. Yale even put out an article talking about it. It's good. Look it up. It's recent. And basically, some people will have to take universal health care when they would prefer to maybe purchase their own on their side. Surely Bernie can flex enough to make a clause for people who don't want to participate in let's call it universal health care, free health care, whatever you want to call it. We pay for it, but let's just use the word free. But it would give them an option to also get side. It's like private schools. You don't want your kids to go to public, fine, you're going to pay out the nose for a private, but that's an option. I don't know if they have that option, and I think that they should. I think people should have choices.
Well, yeah, you should have choices, but you got to afford it to want that. And what I'm gathering, obviously, is that he's saying it's a right to health care. You should have this right. It shouldn't be so expensive that you're even worried about going to the doctor because you can't afford something, or you won't be able to get the medicine, or even the deductible that you're having to pay there would be a strain on your financial situation, so you don't even go in. I mean, man.
It happens all the time. It's sad.
And it's heavy. So it's like, okay, here we are, the greatest on this planet, and yet at the same time, we can't do this for our citizens. We're bankrupting them by having them hugely in debt right when they get out of college because of the student loans, that's another thing he said. We're going to wipe out student loans. We're going to make marijuana,
legal.
on a federal level, legal. And not only that, we're going to help black folks and Latino folks sell it.
I loved that. That was really cool. That was really cool. And he's like, and then we're going to expunge all these stupid charges people have for holding a joint or selling a bag of weed one time. I mean, we're going to get these people out of prisons and keep the real criminals in prison. No, Bernie's brilliant. And even if he does half of what he says, I think that we'll be winning. I mean, hell, if he just manages in 4 years to get universal health care up and running, that's monumental. That is huge. He'll go down in history like Martin Luther King. I mean, he already will, even if he doesn't do that. But even if you do, he's got a lot of big things on the plate. He wants to do universal child care too. And I think that Bernie has great ideas. I feel like I have I'm not anything. I'm not Democratic or Republican, but when he starts stating these things, I can see where the Republicans get their feels. Like, whoa, let's be real here. Let's not just be toting all these $1 trillion tabs around. Let's be realistic. It's nice that's something on the burner that we'll look at. For example, I do think that in the future, if they want to help people with their student loans and help people with child care, I think that's brilliant, but that's helping some of the Americans. I feel like the things that should be on the front burners and should be talked about more regularly is, of course, universal health care, the environment, and going after corporations who are making trillions and paying no taxes. That's like, I feel like on the front burners. Everything else can just go ahead and sit. Yes, it would be great to have universal child care, but let's get everyone health care first, because universal child care takes care of a portion of the population. Again, wonderful idea. I'm not nixing it at all. I'm just saying that helps a percentage of Americans within baby birthing years at a certain time in their life. That's wonderful and great, but universal health care helps all of us. Let's get that front burner and get that cooking. The other stuff can come later. Yeah, get these kids out of their loans and stuff, but later, okay? People are dying. No one's dying of their student loan, I don't think.
Well, and that saying that does bring up this some curiosity in why nobody is really talking about animal agriculture and factory farming, and I'm almost like, okay, is it really that big? How is it that they can talk about energy or fossil fuels and not talk about this other that is creating havoc on the environment as well as on health? And there is a moral question that needs to be asked about the treatment of these animals. So it just seems to me like it incorporates so many things or so many aspects of life that it would be something that needs to be addressed, that should be on the front burner. Like, okay, why are we not talking about this? And then now I'm like, is it because the meat industry is so powerful?
Yeah, they got lobbyists everywhere probably, just like the gun association, just like big oil, just like big pharmaceutical. And that brings me to like.
But everybody's talking about those.
I think a lot of people are talking about the agriculture and the slaughter of animals and the way that we grow our food as well as our meat. So I think that is definitely being talked about. I just don't know why it's not taken the stage politically. I don't know why. I've never heard it mentioned